Hello, everyone. This is Mary Kurek with Frontrunners Innovate, and I have with me a special co-host, James Akan, and some of you may remember that we have interviewed James in a previous edition of our Frontrunners Innovate media platform, and up and coming in the political and governance scene and doing his thing in policymaking in Nigeria. And so very happy to have you, James, as a co-host here and a big advocate for youth development. So thank you. And also Dr. Favour Ayodele, and I hope I didn't mess up your name too much, His Excellency here, who is running for office and has an awful lot on his plate as well. So in Nigeria, he's running for on the presidential, as a presidential candidate for 2023. Also is a founder and chair of African Intellectual Resource Organization, which I kind of looked at and thought more like a research and a think tank type combination. I'm not sure, you're going to tell us more about that. But what really caught my attention is the founder of the Carpenter Foundation from 2018. And so we're going to get into all of that, what you've been doing, what you are doing now, and what's happening in this next year. So welcome. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much, Mary, for having me on your show today. Quite interesting. And I also appreciate James for coming on board too, and our listeners. I want to say thank you. You're welcome.
Oh yeah. Well, we're going to send this around the Nigerian universe that we have available to us. Frontrunners Innovate is seen in like 160 different countries over the course of a year, and about 80 plus during the course of a month. So you're going to get some exposure here in different places for sure. Let's talk about your background first. So tell us what brought you into the space of wanting to get into politics and governance and the types of work that you're doing.
Well, thank you for that question. That's a long story, but I will try as much as possible to get a little across. It has been a kind of my path, my life, finding myself in this kind of terrain and seeing a kind of perspective that some people, need to get. I grew up with an understanding that we need to be good to everyone. It doesn't matter, irrespective of your position or what you're passing through, as much as you are dishing out good things to others. That is where your happiness will be, enacted and continue flowing. So that's alone, helped me to have beautiful and positive perspective towards everything, towards situations, towards, everyone. So I thank God today because God is faithful. Coming to politics, it derived from kind of passion. It derived from a kind of situational trajectory that is happening in Nigeria and Africa, even all over the world. And I discovered that one of the fundamental requirement that individuals should have is what I call ethicology experience. In other words, I bring it to what I call leadership ethicology, that is ethicology of leadership. That is being nice, being good. The humanism part of nature must be displayed in such a way that people experience this, shall I call it give and take now? What you should do to others or what you want others to do to you, that is what you should do to others. But I discovered that is not so in the politics. Politicians, they are full of themselves, they are full of sentiment, and they are full of kind of selfishness and the rest. So it's like they use the word politics to deprive people from their right. And that is not, there's no ethics part of nature in that. You can't just say, okay, this one is good, They use people to get themselves into power, and they dump people. They make sure that their voice don't count anymore. They don't have this kind of relationship. they don't relate with people's feelings and interests and the rest. And if you're talking about politics or government or governance, it has to do with people. So that is where I derive my philosophical ideology, that we need to see that partnership is very important when you are dealing with people in organization setting, community and the rest. If you want to grow, you have to partner with someone because you can't make it alone. So I believe in leadership and partnership over leadership and followership. So what do I mean on that is that over time, the leaders in the world, they see people as their followers, and when you see people as followers, there's tendency for you to downgrade them or not to accept their opinion or not to give them a kind of platform that they desire. You will not be able to have a very brilliant ideas from these people you call followers. You only have discussion, decision, and the rest, with people you bring on the same table. Meanwhile, democracy says power belongs to the people. You understand what I'm saying? So that aspect alone, as it is very huge from my own hand, and I take it so serious. And it is what we need to do. It is what we need to fix the realm of politics or the realm of governance in the world. So if I don't know how much you know about Africa, I don't know how much you know about Nigeria, but the only syndrome, the only fungus syndrome that is affecting our nation and the continent of Africa is lack of leadership. Not only leadership now, I have gone ahead to say lack of true leadership. True leadership is when you have this kind of heart for the people and you're ready to die for them. So if you're not ready to die for your people, there's no how you can claim to be a leader, because leadership is hard work. So you need to prepare your mind by laying yourself, lay your life, lay your ideas, lay whatever thing that you have. Because I believe in this philosophy that if you don't have something to die for, then you are not worth living. So not just something to live for. Everybody wants to live. So when you're living for a particular idea, then you don't see something that is bigger than you. So, my dear sister, there is a way, you need to check yourself and say, no, I can't just be living without making an influential impact, a positive impact. And if you want to make positive impact, just get ready to die. So my life is that's the truth. Just get ready to die, because if you're not ready to die, the situation in the world is so pathetic. You need to take risk. That is what I'm talking about, dying, And while you are taking risk, just see yourself on the other lane. Just see yourself being killed anyhow. Just see yourself being bullied. Just see yourself being, talked down and the rest. So my part of being into politics in Nigeria is to make sure I take care of my people and to make sure that Nigerians' life matter, and at the same time, to give them the future that they all desire. Right now, the political terrain or the politicians in Nigeria, they are not, in fact, they are not even preparing for now, let alone the future. So they are eating both now and the future. So they have created stomach infrastructural valley for themselves. And that is so, that is lugubrious, that is pathetic. And I call them, government by the evil man, which I name to be kakistocracy, the government that are only meant for themselves and for their family and for their stomach without considering people. So that is why I am in politics today.
Why you're in politics. Wow, what a passionate speech. I want to bring James up for this because James has big passion for Nigeria as well. I want to get his perspective on your thoughts. James.
Okay, I listened carefully to what His Excellency Favour Ayodele talked about Nigeria, and I'm so delighted to have someone who is as passionate as to drive the cause of Nigeria. Now, considering the complexity of the Nigerian state, Nigeria is divided into ethnic, tribal, into religious factions, and everything is given an interpretation. If you come out to run for an office, there are so many questions that will come into the minds of people. First, they will ask, what religion is it coming from? What tribe is it coming from? What identity, what cultural identity does it have? And is this something we are going to support? So I think you should be able to tell us how you're going to, how you're going to unite that complexity, how you're going to be able to bring people from across culture, across religion to buy into the philosophy you're actually driving. How do you intend, what are the strategies you want to use to ensure that everyone is seeing the same vision you are seeing, and everyone is coming to the same table so that they can actually change the narrative? Because yes, you've already established that Nigeria, the political class we have now are after their stomach and they are eating our future. And that is a fact. It is an established fact. And this is what they have been doing over time. Over the years, I've been following the budget, and I see that they do a lot of padding in the budget where they will have enough for themselves to, pocket and then to eat. But the question now is, how do you intend to correct these abnormalities? How do you intend to bring people of like minds to work with you to ensure that this vision you are trying to translate is translated across communities, even into the grassroots? Thank you.
Well, I didn't know this was going to be a candidates
well,
forum, but I love it. That's great. Good info, isn't it? Go ahead, Doctor. You can answer.
Okay. Thank you, Mary and James. That's a very brilliant question. Mm-hmm. And you are not the first person that's going to ask this question, and you're not going to be the last. And in fact, it's very, 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 very important to every Nigerian. Let me answer you by saying, or let me first say that we need to understand our identity as a nation. We need to understand that we are a unique country, a strategic unique country. We also need to understand that all of us, we own this country. So when there is a sense of belonging, I'm not talking politically now, I'm talking the truthfulness of a nation. And when there is a sense of ownership, that alone is enough to unite us and to do as if there is no tribe bigger or higher or whatever to themselves or whatever. So that should be or must be established. Sense of belonging, sense of ownership, that is what we are bringing on the table. And these facts remain that Nigeria's identity, for now, it has been battered, shattered. At the same time, I don't know what word we can use to quantify, to qualify that kind of what we are representing. As a matter of fact, my administration is bringing what I call Orientation Intelligence Agency, which is going to be the largest agency in Nigeria and Africa. What do I mean by the Orientation Intelligence? It's not just to orient ourselves. It's not just to change the narrative. What are we changing to? What kind of things we want to achieve? What kind of thing that we deserve or we desire, as a nation, as a people? And if you lose your identity, forget it. There's no how you can function. So, having said this, we must realize that we are one. And the Orientation Intelligence Agency is to point out some difficulties and, bring out some scenario that we cannot just go with as a people. At the same time, bring in scenario that when we look at it together, for example, in the area of resources, Nigeria is so blessed and so, fantastically wealthy when it comes to resources. Right now, we have not tapped into 10% of Nigerian resources yet. So Nigerians are looking for someone that can see beyond the immediate resources we think we have. And you will agree with me that we are only consumers, we are not producers. So Nigerians are looking for leaders that see for them, and I can put things together and put it on the table and say, hey, come, let us do this thing, this so thing we work, this also A, B, C, and Z, we work. And that is what we are bringing. Having said this, let me come from this aspect. Security is dividing Nigeria. A lot of things are going on, and I use the one word I call fundamental defects. Fundamental defect is a practical reality that so-called elite, so-called politicians, they are mounting on, and they are trying to tell the so-called followers, which I don't believe in the syndromic level of followership, but partnership. So they are seeing it to be like, okay, that is what they are going to leverage on, that is what they're going to use against with the people, until we realize that with the people, we have power over the minority. I call them minority because the people that are in power, so-called power, they are few in number compared to the large number, the population of Nigeria. Over 200 million people ruled or governed by just few people. And they are using such kind of power to dismantle or to discard or to put out on a marginalization. So when you talked about religion or stuff, I am not a religious person. I know God, I serve God, but you should understand that Nigeria is a social state. So there won't be in my administration any kind of element that has to do with tribalism, nepotic syndrome, and then religious bigotry and the rest. I would not, give room for such, because we need to come to a table of equality. That is equity. We need to come to a table of, love and unity. This aspect alone give us a kind of understanding that we as a people, we as a nation, we know what we want, and we want to create something better than what we are experiencing. Let me tell you, for the fact that these politicians are destroying the identity, they are destroying the value of Nigeria, that does not mean that people like you and I, we cannot, undo the wrongs. That does not mean that people like you and I, we cannot put things straight. So orientation and intelligence, I'm coming back to it now, is very key in my administration. We need to change our mentality. We need to change how we see ourselves. We need to change how we, how we approach one another, each other. We need to change how we value ourselves in such a way that, we come to an understanding that we are much more important, even to the society and to the world. You will agree with me, Mary will agree with me that I don't know, like I said, that I don't know how much you would understand Nigeria. Nigeria is a strategic country. Nigeria is one of the sophisticated countries in the entire world. And if we talk about Nigerians, your country, probably you stayed in United States or United Kingdom, whichever place you had in the Western world, if you don't have Nigerians in your country, I don't think your country can survive. I am not joking about that. These are intellectuals. These are sophisticated, mind-blowing individuals that are spread across the world, and they are doing export. So why don't we have such kind of that here in Nigeria? And it is because I have mentioned it earlier, lack of true leadership. So Nigeria is looking for a man that has their interests at heart and that can govern, not to rule them. Right now, the situation we are having is because we lack so-called father that doesn't know what the value of a child. So if anybody dies anyhow, he doesn't care. That is not what Nigeria needs. You agree with me, James, that thousands have died, if not millions, in this short time of this administration. So we need to save the life, and we need to save the property, we need to save the resources of this country. We must not give room for division. So I am coming in to create a very solid bridge, harmonious bridge across the entire 6 geopolitical zones or across the ethnic groups in Nigeria. I understand the agitators. I understand, it is their right to agitate for something that they really desire. But when they see a leader that has their own perspective, that reason along with them, that give them a kind of a table to reason, to discuss, to dialogue, then you see them so happy. I talked about sense of ownership. This is what Nigeria needs. And as long as the leaders are not giving them this kind of, aspect of governance, we will continue to experience agledy-pigledy. So let me stop here. Thank you so much.
Very good. Very good. James, I know you have a response to that, but let me ask you one question before we get your response. Be thinking about that, James. Talk to us a little bit about the African Intellectual Resource Organization that you started in the Carpenter Foundation. I don't want to get away from, what we're talking about right now too far, but I do want to bring that up because I know that's something that you started and that you want to see continue.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Let me start from the Carpenter Foundation. I'm known to be the carpenter. People call me the carpenter. That's my nickname. That's my trademark. And that is what I drive. That is what is driving me as well, vice versa. The Carpenter Foundation is dealing or relating with the children, youth, and women that are in vulnerable situation. And as the name implies, is to build, is to, equip and empower this set of group, in the country. And we've been doing fine. We've been doing fantastically great, empowering the youth, doing all manner of capacity building, because that is what is very, very essential in our community. When you don't give the right tools, for the right job, there's no how the job can be done. So our youth and children and women, especially, they need the right tools to work with. I'm not talking about, going to the farm and, use all these kind of machineries, in your store. But I'm talking about the mindset that you must have, the kind of ideology that you must develop with, the kind of rights education that you must have in order to project. So aside that, we empower, this group of individuals, then migrating to the African Intellectual Resource Organization. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I believe in the resources of Africa, and our administration believe in that, using Africa content to develop Africa by African for Africa. So where I was talking about the resources of Nigeria at that time. So when we spread it to Africa, you understand that we are so much blessed. There's so much blessing in Africa, and we have not tapped anything. Our leaders, they are using our life for something else. They are trading our lives, and we come to this understanding that if we should be able to concentrate on ourselves, in ourselves, for ourselves, definitely we can even power the world, because everything is there. When you go to China, China is trying to come to Africa. Not they are trying, not
they're already trying. There.
And they are already living. They're already exploring. They're already doing all manner of things. So there's so much blessings here. So we are dealing with 5 power cardinal points, which we call this: technology, health, education, science, and economy. So we believe in these 5 elements, these 5 pillars, that without this, no continent can thrive. And you agree with me that the level of the world, the way it is evolving into something bigger, technology is very, very important. So that is what we are driving with, and the finance and the rest, agriculture, of course. Like I said, economy. This economy, we need to revive the economy of Africa. So Aero is loaded with intellectuals, with people that are very, very sound, sophisticated, idealists, pragmatists, that are ready to drive and then transform Africa for Africa by Africans.
That's fantastic. Well put. well put. Very good. Very well defined. Before I ask you really what's happening this year, because we know that the campaign is the big thing, I want to go back to James and ask him if he has a response to any of what you've said so far.
Okay. Sure. Interesting. I'm enjoying this conversation. Like I have to bring your attention down to the technology you just mentioned, and that there's huge potential in technological investment. Now, bringing it down to the Nigerian space, we understand that over if I'm correct, over 60% of the population are yet to be connected technologically. When I say, and that is what we are calling the digital divide, we have more rural communities who do not have access to internet. We have more rural communities who have never experienced any technological innovation whatsoever. So what do you think? How do you think? And you know that our Nigerians they are leading in tech and different spaces. How do we bring back this talent we have and then, connect those that are not connected yet, and then, drive a digital governance? How do you intend to do that?
Yeah, we thank you so much, James. That's a very brilliant question. I said, and I will continue to going back to orientation intelligence. It's not just an orientation, as it is, or as people call it, but the intelligence part of it is activating the reality or activating the power that we will use to help our indigenous communities. Because coming to voting, let me just digress a little bit. The voting or the electorate, they are the grassroots that politicians use to destroy the system. That is, they buy their vote, and because of they have weaponized poverty. So now coming to what you're saying, we are recognized all over the world, as you have rightly said. We are recognized as a tech specialist to a large extent. So my administration is going to call on these individuals, and somebody like you will be on that training, and you would agree with me that the level of the level of youth unemployment, or the level, not even only youth, the unemployment rate in Nigeria is so high, like more than 33%, or let's say 33%. That's a huge one. So these individuals, we are going to subject them into a very rigorous training. And as a matter of fact, my agricultural revolutionary project will be driven by artificial intelligence, because we are coming out of whatever thing that has been, I call it dogmatic system, something that our politicians are bossed and they cannot think outside the box of. So we want to drive our agriculture by technology. And from the fact of, let me reveal this, greenhouse. I don't know how much you know about greenhouse. We are coming out of the era of, from the archaic area, where our farmers will go to farm and farm with their back bent. No, we are not going to do that anymore. We are going to do something that can easily be accessible. You can even farm in your room if it is possible. That is the kind of system we are bringing in. Yeah, you can farm your compound, your room if it is possible. You lay something. You agree with me that this aspect will be very, very, very attracted to Nigerian youth. We are talking about sophisticated individuals that are in abroad. A lot of Nigerians in diaspora, they want to come home, but there's no enabling environment for them. So my administration is going to create that, starting from the security aspect that has jeopardized the system, destroyed the system. And one of the things I'm going to use to secure the insecurity, or to make sure our life is secured, is to deploy the technology as well. I'm talking about artificial intelligence, building of drones, and then people that are in volatile areas, creating a digitalized ID card for them, and know who is who in our borders and the rest. When we have our database, we'll be able to know the number of people each regions that will be able to face. So this kind of things is very important, and it's very easy when we have people that are ready. Because let me take you to a historical lane of Singapore. 4 people developed in Singapore, just 4. Why or how? they determine in themselves, among themselves. And they say, no, we can't just allow our country to be like this. We can't just continue this way. And today, you will agree with me how Singapore has developed. And the place where you have seen all over, I'm talking about Dubai, it's because some people patriotically, they make use of their time and they design a very constructive architectural economy for themselves, and they drive it with people with like mind. So they first of all oriented themselves, they give themselves the value they want, they develop and they recreate their own identity and information that they want, and nobody can talk them down. This is where Nigeria and Nigerians should go. And that is where I'm driving Nigerians to. So I don't know if I've answered your question. Thank you.
James, what do you think?
Yeah, it's perfect. You've answered well. I think the complexity of Nigeria requires for us to have a system where, in fact, we need to develop a system, a technological system that will be sustained over time.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we need to bring it down. We need to just bring it down into its workability. We need to bring it down to the people where they can be able to access these things, you know, where the rural dwellers will be able to access.
Sorry, James. Let me quickly come in here to give you a very comfortable night. Right now, you saw what happened when we wanted to start this program. They took off the light because there is no light in your area. That is why you couldn't bring your face out, right? Mm-hmm. My administration is going to 100% and intentionally, deliberately make sure we have electricity 24/7 for the first time in Nigeria. For the past 60 years, we don't have stable electricity. And that is why you see it. I don't know if you have seen my posters or messages everywhere. Light, arise, light Nigeria. Arise, light Nigeria. Light Nigeria is an intentional statement. It's not a kind of a political statement. No, it's what we must do. Mm-hmm. And it is by lighting Nigeria, technological part of my administration will function. And that is when the rural areas, the indigenous people, will have access to what we are doing, because my administration wants to bring city to the rural areas. So everybody will be on the same level by the special grace of God. Even though it's a hard work, yes, and that is why I am ready 100%, and I have a very strong team with me, intellectuals, people that know what it takes to develop a country. So we are very intentional about putting electricity in every local government, in every rural areas, in every state and community in Nigeria, 24 hours. I mean 24 hours. Apart from what we are going to do, and let me quickly share this with you, my James. Arise is not just a political statement, just like I mentioned on Light Nigeria. It is an efficacy, the mechanism we want to use to transform this country, to rescue and transform this country. Number one, agricultural revolution. That is A. And number two is resources. Number three is investment. And number four, which is the X, is security. And number five, which is the E, is education. So when you put this thing together, you will see the power of reviving this country in it. Very, very unique. And my mission in the administration of Favour, including yourself, is to make Nigeria a home for everyone. So meaning investors, everybody on the surface of the earth, when they are coming to Nigeria, they will feel at home. Diasporans that are there, they will feel at home. They want to come, and we are making everything to be comfortable. When we are talking about making Nigeria a home, you know what it means. Security-wise, we are going to be secure. Safe. You will have your food, first step, two steps to your fridge, to your food, to your kitchen. You're going to be comfortable. So I am very intentional about this, and I want you to just be comfortable in this with me, and let us drive and create the future we want from now. So thank you so much. I don't know if I have buttressed your appetite the more.
Okay. Let me quickly inject something. I love the passion, I love the drive, I love the articulation of your vision for Nigeria. I think we also need to understand that the political space in Nigeria have a lot of political jobbers. We have a lot of political scavengers. So many people who are ready to, exploit in any little opportunity they are given. And then it cuts across communities, it cuts across, all the grassroots sectors where, when election is to be held, we have situations where people will have to tender their PVCs for money. They submit their PVCs so that they can get as little as 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 in different polling units. Now, the question is, how do you want to structure that reorientation plan where you can change the mindset of young people who will be politically, who are politically aware, who cannot be politically influenced with mere, tokens, so that they can be able to stand their ground and then say, this is the candidate we want, and this is the candidate we want to vouch for. How do you want to do it across the communities, in the interior parts of Nigeria, where we know that the population?
I think before I want to thank you and I thank your question, very brilliant question. I want to thank Madam Mary for bringing you on board. I'm so happy.
He's awesome, isn't he?
Yes, he's awesome. I love it.
You need him.
Yes. Number one, you have to ask me. Start from here. And number two, there's what I call collaboration of vision. This year, I was talking to young people and some leaders, executive ones. I said collaboration of vision. What do you want? What do people want? Do we still want to go this way, with all these political jailers?
Mm-hmm.
If no, then we must take our destiny by ourselves. Number two. Number three, I am the founder of NIVO, Nigerian Voters Movement. It's a strategic organization that we are using to sensitize Nigerians about voting method, voting rules, voting techniques, and the rest. So we are very intentional. It has, we started it last year, and across 36 states, we are working vigorously under the ground. I mean, behind the scene, sorry, not under the ground, behind the scene, and then at the background level, we are making sure that everybody is aware of what is coming. We are aware of what is coming. That's number three. Number four, you asked this awesome question because our so-called leaders, they have weaponized poverty. They have weaponized poverty, and they can do anything. And that is why we are coming with a strategy. And let me say it here, if you are there, let me say it to my listeners, because a lot of people are going to listen to this session. We want Nigerians to the extent that their vote is their power, is their destiny, is their voice. And we almost come out and get our PVC and vote, not only vote and go, and stay there. We must stay there and pull things down. We must vote our conscience and start rejecting any form of individuals that are coming with their 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira. Let's reason this way. How much with 5,000 naira, how much will it do for you for the next 4 years? In fact, one day, I'm very sure where you are, in fact, I love your outfit. Your bid alone is more than 5,000 naira. Your cap is more than 5,000 naira, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the rate of the escalation of inflation in Nigeria. If you buy one thing, just, I don't know, a pint of beans is about 4,000 naira. And if you're a family of 5, forget it, within 3 days, if it is only beans you are eating, you will finish it within 3 days or 2 days. And if you're a family of 10, it's just 1 day, it's done, it's gone. So what am I trying to say is that we must understand that our vote is our destiny this time around. Our vote is our voice. Our voice is our power. Our voice is our future. We must understand that. So number 5 thing we are going to use is to deploy technology to view and to monitor our election, our vote. And this is what we are going to use to make sure we have, at least to a large extent, free and fair election. And of course, somebody like Mary and Alex, they will come and be an observer, be observers to our election. We need foreign communities to come and partake in our election as observers. So all these mechanisms, all these plans, we must all together now put in place. Number 1, you must be very ready and say no to this present administration. Starting from here, because even your car, now we are on data. I don't know which one, maybe she's using a Wi-Fi or you are using, myself and yourself, I'm very sure we are using data. And I know how much data I bought now before I can plug into this, thousands of naira. So what am I saying? 5,000, 10,000, even if they are giving them 20,000 naira, it is not going to be enough for them for 4 years. 2 days is enough for you to spend 20,000. And that is when you are an economist. When you are an economist, that is when you can manage 20,000 naira. So it is so bad. And it bleeds my heart. And that is why I'm coming on board intentionally to make sure that we can't just continue allowing these people destroying our future, mortgaging even the fruits of the womb. No. And I am coming with this that I've not mentioned. Less government, more governance. That is my political ideology. And I'm sending it to everywhere on the surface of the earth. If you want to have good governance, let's go with this ideology, Favour Ayodele. And I know that it will help us so well. I don't know if this little has answered your question to some extent. Thank you.
I'll let James answer if you've answered his questions. And then I'll ask my last question. James, final comment?
Okay, perfect. I'm enjoying the conversation, and I have to appreciate you for bringing this aspirants. We have very bright Nigerians with beautiful articulation of vision and people who are ready to make sure that the country works. But we still have an issue when it comes to leadership. That is, the people that know that they are not contributing to the growth of the country still want to remain in power. So my question is going to be, my last comment and my last question is going to be to Ayodele. How do we work with these people who do not want the progress of Nigeria, who are only looking for their selfish gains, who are only looking for power because they just want to accumulate power, who are just doing it to accumulate wealth that they will not even use in the nearest future? How do we take these old generational leaders who are not contributing anything to the growth of the country, how do we take them out of this space and inject new young aspirants who are going to lead the country to the future it wants? So how do we do that? What's your strategy?
Thank you so much, James. I appreciate your concern. Let me start by saying, it is just that it is like when you have a bad father and you are living with your father. The the only thing is just to let your father reason critically about your objectives and about our limits, his limit rather, is to let your father understand the perspective of when he started doing something then. So what am I trying to say? We have categories of fathers in Nigeria. And let me pause, I will come back to that. My administration is given 75% for the youth, from the presidency to the ambassadorial level across the world. So meaning 25% remains will be for the elders, the fathers. And where are they going to function? On the advisory roles. So these advisory roles, they will be there because we cannot just do away with them. That's the fact. But the only thing we will do is to make sure we have justice. And because there is no justice in Nigeria, that is why we have agitators of separation and whatever you call it. Sensation is going on in Nigeria because there's no justice. And there is no fairness, equity. So all these things must be in play. And of course, my brother, if you are corrupt in administration, you must think twice before you do it. Because there is no activation of the rule of law in Nigeria. We have law. Every country, all over the world, has their own law. But the activation, empowering the law, is not there. The mindset of individuals, so-called leaders that you mentioned, to bow down, to submit themselves under the law, is not there. And there's no political will on that. The lawmakers are not subjecting themselves to the law. So all these things we are going to reform. We are going to reform, and of course, as a matter of fact, I am giving an autonomy for the judiciary in Nigeria. They will work, in fact, they will prove, Mr. President, I mean, my very humble self, whatever thing that is going on, there's going to be a heavy hard work. We must have, that is what I call less government, more governance, if you understand what that one means. So justice is number one. That is when we can progress and have peace and unity, harmony as well, with progressive mind. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. My last question to you is, who do you need to help you move your work forward? So for all the things that you said that you need to do, and that is a big plate full of things to do that you need to accomplish. I'm assuming you have potential cabinet members and administration members in your mindset, but you've got a lot of projects that if moving forward in 2023 is what you want to do, you've got to have some, as we call it in the United States, ducks in a row. You've got to have things lined up. So what types of people do you need to meet to move you forward?
I need, number one, I need visionary individuals. Number two, I need competent technocrats. Number three, I need pragmatists, that is implementers of projects. And number four, I need humanists. Number five, I need people that will help to get the orientation and intelligence part of my administration, working. That is very important for me. Of course, I need economists to come along. And the last part of what I need technologists, the architectural technologists, the 21st century architecture, that we want to make sure we put together and salvage this country. So all these put together, I listed it, was it not yesterday when I was calling on well-meaning Nigerians in their various arenas to join my presidential campaign team so that we can put some things moving, because right now Nigeria is at 1,000 jar backward. So we are far from the reality, let alone the future. So all these set of individuals, I need them to work with me. I'm asking people in diaspora, Nigerians in diaspora, to come down and work with me. I'm asking the investors to come down and work with me. And I'm asking, the youth, the sophisticated youth across Nigeria, to come and work with me. And we must be patriotic in nature, in our mind, let there be patriotism from A to Z of our thinking method, because I want to develop a system that is value-driven, value and purpose-driven. That is what I am coming up with. And the team that God has given to me so far, we are working tirelessly to make sure we acknowledge, and that is one of the gifts that God gave to me anyway, to identify gifted individuals, people that can put one or two things together and transform it. So I've been on that for how many years? For many years now. So what I'm trying to say is that I will appreciate people that can commit their own resources as well to this vision, because right now, the Jagabans, the people that are in power, the old politicians, the recycled politicians, they are moving around with their hula baloo siren, with their kind of intimidating siren and whatever, and they are creating all manner of havoc in the society when the INEC has not even pronounced the campaign time, which is going to be this year anyway, but they have started their own. Why? Because there is nobody that is going to shut them up. The law I'm talking about is there, but it's not active. So people like me, we are at the mercy of God, and people like Mary and James and people that are hearing me right now, for them to come together and help this vision, support this vision with our resources. I mean, financial resources, material resources, something that we're going to use to help our campaign, the consultation, the traveling. I'm asking for agencies, a transportation agency, hospital, what do you call it now? The agency that has to do with our accommodation and the rest. So we are in need. Yes, hospitality. Tourism. Yeah, tourism and the rest. We need to get all these things on the table. We need them to come into our aid and help out. We need graphic designers, content creators, as little as anything you can call it. We need everybody on the table. We need to put everyone on the table so that we can achieve what we have been dreaming of. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to ask you two to stay with me for just a minute longer while I say goodbye to everybody else. But if you're watching this on YouTube, go to www.frontrunnersinnovate.com and you'll see this interview and all the extra information that we are able to gather from Dr. Ayodele. And I want to say thank you, James Akan, for being my co-host. You did a great job. Good questions. I think it was a great exchange between the two of you. And I thought he came up with questions I thought that were really good for you to consider and be thinking about. So this is a good interview. We appreciate it. You're going to get this. If you go to Frontrunners Innovate, you're also going to have access to the podcast audio version of that. And for most people watching this, wherever you get your podcast, you'll be able to listen to it. So if you one of those that likes to walk or drive and listen, then you'll be able to do that. So I want to thank everybody again. So I'll say goodbye to everyone else. You two stay on, if you will, for a second. Bye-bye.